Okay, so I think that was almost it. Was there anything else?
Yes. We then made a leap to Monte Carlo tree search.
I wouldn't say it was a leap.
We climbed a Monte Carlo tree.
Yes, and did some search. And what do we learn about Monte Carlo tree search?
So it's really important to help with scaling because
Yep.
it lets you have computation that's independent of the size of the state space, even though it depends very possibly badly on the length of the horizon.
Right. So it's got a low O on the state space. In fact, it's independent. But it has a big O on the horizon, which I'll just call H here.
And it's exponential in that.
Yeah, in fact, it's exponential in it.
It looks like hydrogen now. So does MCTS and abstraction fit together in any way?
We could make it if we were abstract enough. See what I did there? If you pop back up far enough, you can sort of think of it as a kind of abstraction over actions and policies.
Well, no, I was thinking in particular that the idea that in MCTS, the way we talked about it, it was talking about specific states, ground level states. Like if we have a good way of abstracting states, can we use those abstracted states in an MCTS context?
Oh, sure. In fact, what I was about to say is that all of the stuff that we learned about generalization up here can apply to MCTS, some more easily than others. Doing the function approximation is sometimes quite hard, but not really because of the way that we're sort of thinking about the Q functions. But the temporal abstraction works very well because I can use options instead of actions to do my MCTS.
Oh, right. You even said that.
Yeah, I even said that. And as a result, the state abstraction and the goal abstraction can also follow through there if you think about each of the individual modules as doing their own version of MCTS. But MCTS is a very general notion. So if I were trying to decide between different modules that I might take, it will look exactly like trying to do the sequential decision making, and MCTS will work either way. But the big temporal abstraction is a huge win for MCTS because, again, all of its difficulty lies in the length of the horizon, right? So if I'm able to search far ahead in the future, that lowers my effective horizon.
Ah, nice.
Right.
So, okay, so if these ideas are so important for scaling up, do you feel like they've contributed to, I don't know, the ability of reinforcement learning to solve some real problems?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, these things actually come up quite a bit. They've been used in a lot of games. MCTS has been used. Well, it's all in the papers that the students have read. But MCTS has been used to solve a bunch of game problems in just my own work, as well as in a variety of other things. You probably know a few more off the top of your head, but really, anytime you have a huge state space or potentially a huge state space, these kinds of abstractions turn out to be extremely useful. Some of them are easier to think about than others. Function approximation is very nice, but does have its own problem with picking the right features, particularly if you're going to be nonlinear about it. Temporal abstraction is often quite useful because people can help you come up with things like options or constraints. Goal abstraction has a kind of similar flavor to it. And because of those things, the state abstraction helps. Basically, anything that lets you lower the number of states or the effective horizon has to make the reinforcement learning problem easier.
Oh, nice.
Right. So there, scalability. These things actually work. They actually are helpful. And this is a huge, wide open field in reinforcement learning. In fact, to your point, I'll just sort of end it with this, that I think that reinforcement learning has gotten so good at solving kind of well thought out grid-like problems that the field is really interested and increasingly more interested in figuring out how to make it work in the real world. And these kind of techniques, these abstraction techniques, these scaling techniques become increasingly important as you try to move it out into the real world. So this is a good thing.
Wow, I'm glad you told me about it.
I'm about helping others. So I think we're good. So I guess goodbye, Michael. Until next time.
All right. Yeah, see you then.